Yeah, on their latest fundraise. But moving on, multi-stage global VC firm Lightspeed recently hosted the second edition of its Portfolio Investor Day Liftoff in Mumbai. The event brought together businesses, founders, investors, and key stakeholders from across the world to discover Lightspeed's leading portfolio startups. My colleague Shruti Mishra caught up with Anuj Bhargava, the MD India at Lightspeed at the event. Listen in to this conversation.
We were very keen as we sort of, help our portfolio in India and Southeast Asia grow to ensure that our founders have access to different pockets of capital globally. And so we decided what we're going to do is literally have the most marquee investors from different stages of investment come down to India, to Bombay here, and meet our portfolio in one day. So what we had last year was, I think, 35 odd portfolio companies and maybe 80 global funds. This year we've got 40 portfolio companies and 120 funds.
I want to know more about Lightspeed's investment thesis. You have a whole host of industry leaders in your portfolio, be it Razorpay, Aspire, you've got Darwinbox, Pocket FM, and many more. So tell us, apart from funds, what else is on table? How do you help your portfolio companies grow?
Sure, very happy to. As you correctly said, look, we have been investing, I think, in India since 2007, 2008. So it's been, a good 15 years. We have roughly $2 billion deployed in the country since then, and we've been very sector agnostic. So as you correctly said, we've got, consumer, fintech, enterprise investments. We're looking at a lot of new age sectors as well, including Gen AI and energy transition, where we're spending a lot more time. And in addition to obviously making those investments, both at an early stage as well as growth, which we do together with our colleagues and partners in the US, we're also looking to provide our portfolio with all support they need to create value. And the examples of that is, once we write the check, we obviously help the founders, set up the right legal and accounting structures. We help them hire the right talent. We help them with their organic business planning and what markets they should focus on and how they can create value. And then, I come in and try and help them raise follow-on capital, because eventually you need, different pockets of capital to come in, and all the way to either an exit via an M&A or via the capital markets. We sort of cover the entire growth journey.
All right, let's now talk about the current startup landscape in terms of funding and inorganic growth. Do you see the momentum going as far as M&A activity is concerned? And also, do you believe funding is on a rise now?
Yeah, I think the funding, I'd say there is no shortage of capital.
Okay. At all stages?
At all stages. There is no shortage of, dry powder that funds, have and is waiting on the sidelines to come in. Why isn't it coming in? I think there was a period which I think we're trying to, or at least hoping, seeing the end of, where there was a bit of a mismatch between value expectations.
Yeah.
I think we're, in that zone where, I think companies will come back to market and, in a more realistic sort of, valuation scenario, where the gap between how people are looking at, companies versus what may have happened maybe 3 years ago is reduced. So I think, the first message I'll give you is no shortage of capital. Is just a valuation sort of, mismatch.
Realistic valuations.
Realistic valuations, which will happen. I think it's only natural. But also, I think, truth be told, there was a lot of, companies that, maybe raised capital that was a lot more than they would have, normally raised. Some companies raised that probably shouldn't have raised. And I think what we're now seeing is a little bit of a rationalization, which is very healthy for the industry.
Absolutely.
And I think we'll see better companies for it. And look, as far as M&A is concerned, India has not naturally been a big M&A market. I think we're seeing signs that is changing.
Yeah.
One of the big differences between, say, the US and India, as far as the new age ecosystem is concerned, is in the US, you see a lot of exits to mid-market private equity shops via M&A.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that in India on a large scale, but I think that's changing.
Before I let you go, I want to know your outlook for 2024 as far as the startup landscape is concerned. Also, what are your top sectors that you're betting big on?
Look, I think we're extremely positive on India in general. We're sitting on our fourth fund, which we raised in the second half of 2022, and we're very actively deploying, from there. We also have a much larger global growth pool of capital that also deploys in India. So no problem there, and we're very excited. Continue to back the strongest founders across sectors. I think in terms of priorities, look, as a firm, we've been investing very heavily in Gen AI, which we continue to do even in India. We've had, at least 2 recent investments that we have extremely high hopes for, and we'll continue to take more bets in that sector. And then, look, otherwise as well, we've got an extremely strong enterprise software portfolio, which we're going to look to add to. We've done, a large number of consumer investments as well, in the past and, more recently that we're going to look to add to.
On that note, it is time for us to head into a short break. But coming up next, we put the spotlight on Hair Originals, a D2C natural hair extension and wig brand, and their attempt to reinvent the hair industry in India. Stay tuned for that.